I'm Lady Charmaine, and my guest today is no stranger to Hollywood. He starred in some of our favorite movies, such as The Breakfast Club, St. Elmo's Fire, and The Mighty Ducks, just to name a few. And today he's here to talk about his new movie starring his father, Martin Sheen, and a film written and directed by my today's guest. And I want you to help me welcome Emilio Estevez to the show. How you doing, Emilio?
I'm doing well. Thank you. Thank you so much for having me on the show today.
Oh, it's such a pleasure to have you on the show. Now, I saw the trailer of the movie, really good, and I said, okay, now when the DVD comes out, I got to go and actually check it out in full length. But tell us about the movie. It's called The Way, and the inspiration behind it.
Well, the film takes place in Spain for the most part. It's about the 500-mile pilgrimage that goes across the north of Spain. And pilgrims have been making this journey since the 9th century. The pilgrims believe that the bones of St. James, the Apostle of Jesus, are buried in the cathedral in Santiago de Compostela, which is the end of the journey, the end of this pilgrimage. So our film takes place now. It's a contemporary film, and it stars my old man, Martin Sheen, and he plays a father who loses a son on the Camino, and I play that son. So I have a very small part in the film. I'm gone in the first couple of minutes, but he comes to Santiago, or actually to the Camino, to pick up the remains of his son. But he has this moment of inspiration, and he decides to do the pilgrimage in his son's honor. So he puts on some hiking boots and off he goes, and he meets various pilgrims along the way. And it kind of becomes a modern-day retelling of The Wizard of Oz, where he plays our Dorothy, and he meets the Cowardly Lion and the Scarecrow and the Tin Man. And off they go to the Emerald City. In this case, it's Santiago de Compostela.
Wow. Now, your father was born just outside of Santiago, I read.
Well, my grandfather was from a town just around there, about 70 miles from Santiago. My dad was the first of 10 children born in the United States. My son, in fact, lives in a village along the Camino, a town called Burgos, and he's been living there since 2003. He met a gal out there when he went to check out the Camino back when he was 19 and working as my father's assistant on the West Wing. They had a little bit of time to go check out the Camino, so off they went. And my son met a gal, fell in love, and said, "Pop, I'm moving to Spain." So he's been there, and he's been an inspiration for the film as well.
What love will do for us, right? He goes there, meet a woman, and stays there. Now, what was it like for you and your father to be working there in Santiago, knowing that, part of your family originated from there, and you have family history there?
Well, talk about going back to your roots. Talk about reconnecting to where you came from. It was pretty exciting, and Spain is a really beautiful country. I mean, you ask people about Spain if they've traveled there. They've usually been to Madrid, where all the great museums are, or to Barcelona, where they have some terrific beaches. But really, the north of Spain is somewhat undiscovered, especially from people here in the States. So to be back in that part of the country and to put it on film and to expose a whole new generation of people to that part of the country was just a thrill for me. A lot of our crew, actually most of our crew was Spanish, and many of them had never been on the Camino either.
Now, do you speak Spanish?
You know what? I speak enough to get by. When I'm in Spain, of course, necessity being the mother of invention, you've got to speak it, and you to be able to get around. It's one of the few countries in Europe where English is not readily spoken. So you have to really know your Spanish to get around there.
Now, how long did it take for you to shoot this entire film?
We prepped it for 2 months, and we shot for 40 days on the actual Camino, and we shot in sequence. So we started in the Pyrenees, and we had a very small crew, about I'm going to say just under 50 crew members and cast, and we did the entire trek. Of course, we had vans and vehicles to get us along, but we reckon we walked about 300 to 400 kilometers of it. About half of it.
Wow. And see, Emilio, you and your father are very close. You even live down the street from each other. What was it like for you to have to direct your father, who's a veteran actor?
This is the third time I've directed my old man.
Wow.
He was in a movie we did that 4 people saw called The War at Home. He played my father in that film, and then of course I directed him in Bobby, which he had a small role in. But this is the first time that he and I have worked in such an intense way, where really the movie was his idea. He was playing the lead, and the movie really hung on his shoulders. He likes to say, well, he hasn't had a role this big in a while, and that's the truth. So directing him, I had to just keep reminding him that this was a very different kind of guy than who he is. My dad's a very friendly individual. He never met a stranger. He goes into crowds and shakes hands and kisses babies and takes pictures. But the character he's playing was not that guy. The character he's playing is a guy who's a little bit closed, not really a citizen of the world, not a faith-based man, a guy who has fallen away from his faith. And that was, in fact, one of the bigger arguments he and I got into. He says, well, why does he have to be a lapsed Catholic? Because I said, because he's got to have somewhere to go. He's got to rediscover his faith along this route.
So this is a movie about a person rediscovering their faith as they're taking this journey.
That's right. And he rediscovers community. He rediscovers faith, his own personal faith journey. And he reconnects with the world in general. He becomes a citizen of the world again.
Wow. So now he has a heart and he's compassionate. And, oh, that's really great. So did you just sit down one day and just come up with this wonderful idea? What was really the inspiration just for you when you said, I want to do this and I just want to do this pilgrimage? Were you just in your room one day?
As I mentioned, my son lives there now.
Right.
And he's been living there since 2003. So I kind of started thinking, well, if I'm going to see my son anytime soon, I better figure out how to make a movie over in Spain. So, but between that and my father giving me a gentle nudge and saying, "Hey, how about we go over to Spain and make a film?" There were enough signs, I guess, enough people pushing me in that direction. And so I, in talking about the possibility of making a film with my father, I said, well, how about this? How about the movie is a story about a guy who loses his son? And he said, I think that's it. And because, I kind of lost my son, not in a tragic way, but I kind of lost my son to Spain. He's anxious to come home, though, now after almost 8+ years. He's anxious to come home and try to live here for a little while. So I'm excited about that. Now,
is his wife down for that?
Oh yeah, no, she said, okay, you did your time here, and we'll give it a try on the other side of the Atlantic. The economy in Spain is they're at about 23% unemployment right now, so it's they're very troublesome times over there in terms of employment, and it's not getting any better. So I think he's anxious to try to get over here and try to crack this job market.
Okay, that is really good. So tell us, okay, the movie is going to be out on DVD next week. Give us some information so people can run and go and get it.
We're on VOD, Video On Demand, starting tomorrow night, which is February 9th, and then DVD February 21st. And you can, we'll be available on Amazon, Walmart, iTunes, anywhere where you could, Blockbuster, anywhere where you can buy DVDs. Well, you'll find us there.
Fantastic. Well, I want to thank you so much, Emilio. We want to let everybody know the movie's entitled The Way. Make sure you go and see it. Video on demand beginning on tomorrow night. Also, you can go and pick it up on DVD, bring it home, share it with your entire family. I believe this is going to be a great inspirational movie. Emilio, thank you so much.
Thank you. This is a film that's a tonic for the soul. So I think your listeners will really enjoy it.
Again, thank you so much, Emilio, and hopefully we have you on the show again.
Indeed, it'd be my pleasure. Thanks for having me today.
You're so welcome. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye now.